Excellent. So we're good to go. And away we go. So first thing I want to talk about is how to stop cold calling. And that is, I mean, that's the topic on hand here today for this webinar. I've got several other webinars planned out over the next month, so I'll let you guys know about that. There's a bunch of different topics that I'll be talking about. And we're going to jump into it. This is going to take about half an hour. Once again, if you have any questions, feel free to text me or send me an email at chris@salestipaday.com. I'm going to go over a 5-step process here that can help you out. And also, I have a reference or resource guide that if none of you got, or if some of you got and some of you didn't get, let me know and I can send it to you via email as well. So first things first, I'm going to jump into why doesn't cold calling work? And it's not per se that cold calling doesn't work. Actually, I don't know if Don's on the line here or not. He and I got into a bit of I'm not going to say a heated discussion, but I put a post up on LinkedIn, and he and I went back and forth for a bit on this. So I'm going to say, in his examples, why doesn't cold calling work? What I look at is, just picking up the phone and straight out calling someone. It doesn't work. If you've got a warm lead in, a little different. But this is the reason why I'm going to talk about why cold calls don't work today, where you're just picking up the phone and calling people. So the cold hard facts here. I was recently looking at a report that LinkedIn did on the 7 ways salespeople drive revenue with social selling. I would highly recommend that if you can, go into Google and type social selling in LinkedIn, and they've got phenomenal information that you can actually glean on how to use social selling. Social selling, in essence, is leveraging kind of social media in a different way to find people. And in fact, one of the webinars I've got coming up here, I've talked about 3 different tactics of using LinkedIn to reach people. Anyways, one of the things they referenced in the webinar, or in the paper, was that IBM did a report, and cold calling only had a 3% success rate and was decreasing at 7% a year. So it's only going to take a bit of time until literally cold calling becomes less and less effective. One of the things I also looked at, there's a Baylor University study, I believe Baylor's down in Texas, that they did, which is, has cold calling gone dead? And what they did was they actually went to realtors in multiple Keller Williams real estate offices, and they gave them 6,264 numbers to call. And you can see the stats down here. 28% answered, 55% didn't answer, 17 were non-working numbers. That 55% not answering, for me, that's not anything that's of a surprise. I mean, just put yourself in the shoes of somebody who's getting a phone call from a phone number that they don't know. I know I don't pick them up. I'm sure everyone on this call doesn't pick it up. Here's the dismal fact, though: 19 appointments on the 6,264. Which, when you look at it, is a 0.3% success rate. If you look at it, just the ones answered, it's literally like 1% of the calls were actually answered. Pretty dismal stats. And I guess the way I look at it is a little differently. Only a portion of the population wants what you have at any given time. When you're cold calling, I often say it's kind of like winning the lottery, right? So I take a look at it, that 0.3% to 3% success rate in 100, which means you got to go and try to convince someone to talk to you and meet with you and a whole bunch of different things. But the other way to look at this is, I look at it as, if you're cold calling, literally you're wasting 97% of your time just to get a meeting. There's probably, and there is, more effective ways. Obviously, I'll go into that today. But I mean, I know I don't want to be wasting 97% of my time just making cold calls and basically also getting frustrated with this sort of stuff. So I want you guys to know, I have been in your shoes. So I'm going to let the cat out of the bag. I'm 47 years old. Wow. When I started, I was, how old was I? Probably about 25 when I started my sales career, 26, somewhere in that range. And, we didn't have the internet. Al Gore hadn't invented it yet. And literally the only way to really get indoors was, through referrals, through someone calling you or else getting on the phone and making some cold calls. And I'll tell you, I mean, I beat my head against the wall making cold calls for years. Um, it was tough. It was, I hated doing it. It was just very tough. So, long story short, I've been in your shoes. People, I had the fear of rejection. I hated picking up the phone and calling people because I just hated rejection. Secondly, I felt like, I kind of looked stupid because I'd be in an office with a whole bunch of people. I was in a bunch of cubicles in my office making phone calls, and people are shutting you down, and you're thinking about what people feel about you. Now, apart from that, also I've done it on my own and picked up the phone and being yelled at. So once again, I feel stupid, right? Fear of loss, like, loss. Hey, I'm going to lose revenue. I'm going to lose income. I'm going to lose a whole bunch of different things. I just mentioned it. Fear of an angry person. That's one of the biggest things of cold calling is, having people being angry at you by picking up the phone and interrupting their day. And last but not least is, it's a lack of confidence. I mean, it beats you down trying to make cold calls and trying to stay positive. So, I can go on and on and on this, but I think you guys all know because you've been on this and done this before. So I'm going to show you guys a way to generate some sales leads and prospects who want what you're offering are ready to do business with you immediately. So first of all, I'm going to take a look at some stats, and it's specifically geared around online. I'm going to reference this a little bit in the presentation as well, but you need to put your mindset into the space of a lot of people are going online trying to find information. In fact, actually, Google has a report called the 0 Moment of Truth, and I highly recommend look it up because it's got some interesting information in it. But people hit at least 10 websites before they start making a purchasing decision, and they're also involving salespeople far later down in the sales funnel because they're educating themselves beforehand, so they don't necessarily need you per se to educate them. So once again, the other thing too is 60% of people go online to find out about a product or service. I believe that stat, truthfully, it actually is much higher nowadays. This information was from a couple of years ago. The information I gleaned was 83% of people need help during the sales process. Even though they're educating themselves, they still have questions that they can't get answered. When they go online and they're going to a website or they're going to your website, they expect immediate assistance 71% of the time. So if you're not there to pick up a phone or answer any questions, half of them will leave, never to come back to your site. So pretty dismal facts right there. So I look at it as a different light. As I say, how do you leverage this information into your favor? And so what I'm going to go through is a 5-step process that I use and some of my clients use to generate sales leads for their organizations and for their salespeople, or even salespeople use to generate sales leads. First things first, you have to have a website or you have to have access to your corporate website, and you should have landing pages. And I'll get into this in a little bit here, what a landing page is and stuff like that. This kind of builds the foundation of the process that I'm going to talk about here. Secondly, you should have an email marketing software program and an offer. So once again, I'm just kind of going over the steps at a very high level here. I'll get down into these steps one by one as we start going on this stuff. Next, look at leveraging a live chat solution on your website to engage with people. Look at ways that you can do advertising to draw people to your website or to your landing pages. And also start leveraging social media in your favor to start driving people to your website. Now, when I say there's 5 steps, there's actually 6. And this is kind of a no-brainer, right? Is if anyone reaches out to you or contacts you or you bring a lead in through this process, my take is make sure you follow up with them. I mean, every single sales lead that comes in the door is like gold. So treat it like gold and make sure that you are following up with the people so that you increase your likelihood of getting a sale. So step 1, a website or a landing page. So literally, if you have your own website or you have your company's website and you have access to it, this is something that you could go talk to your boss. If you work for a big multinational, and that's not necessarily going to happen, but if you do have a website, you can set up this process on it. The other thing you can do is look at leveraging a landing page for when you drive people through to your website so that you can capture names and emails or engage with them. And in this case, I'm using, this is a screenshot from a landing page that I have on my website that shows people how to stop cold calling and leveraging my live chat solution that I have for 30 days for free to try it. And I built it through a system called Lead Pages. So, long story short, you have a web page, or what you could do is you can leverage something like Lead Pages or Unbounce, and I'll get to this in a second here, and set up your own pages so that you push people through and you're capturing names and emails. So once again is, if you do not have access to a website, there's a couple of things that you can use. Like I say, one is called Lead Pages. It's leadpages.net is the URL of the domain for them, and it's a great little program that you can use. The next one is called Unbounce, and being a Canadian, I like Unbounce because it is a Vancouver firm. I like to support them. I use both, and they both work very well. And then last but not least, if you're trying to set up your own website, you can go to GoDaddy, set up a WordPress website. You can set stuff up, start hosting, put a blog up and stuff like that. Long story short, this is meant to be a very high level for you guys. And if you want to find out more, you can always reach out to me, Chris at Sales Tip a Day, and I'll help you with that. So that's, this starts building the foundation. This is, I'm creating a web page, or I'm creating a landing page and everything like that. The nice thing about Lead Pages and Unbounce, by the way, is you do not actually have to have a website. They will host the landing pages for you, and it works quite well. Next thing, so you've built the foundation, and you've got the ability to, give something to somebody. What you need to do is you need to integrate an email marketing software platform into your landing page, so that if someone comes there and they give you their name and email or any of their contact information, you have a mechanism for capturing all that information. And then on top of it, being in Canada, we have a Canadian anti-spam law, so I can't necessarily go out and just start emailing people. But if people give you their email and name and contact information, then you get around that. The other thing I say is have an offer. And I'm going to tie all this together, so just bear with me and I'll tie it together at the very end and show you what I'm talking about here. So, setting up an email marketing system, there's, Aweber and MailChimp are the two big ones that I like. There's Constant Contact, iContact, a whole bunch of different ones. But, Aweber and MailChimp are the two ones that I use and quite like. First thing first, you set up an email marketing system. You create something of value to give away that'll entice your clients to give you their name and email. And in this case, what I've done is I actually have created a 25 must-have sales and marketing tips that I give away to individuals when they hit a certain landing page on my website. This little ebook, seriously, it took me less than an hour to make. I even created this title for like $5 online through a service that allows you to create ebook covers. And it has gotten me thousands of email subscribers. And it's a great little mechanism. One of the other things you can do too is, as I say, set up an email system. You create something of value to give away. Think of it this way. A lot of you people actually registered on my, to join this webinar today, just because I'm giving potentially, hopefully, value away here on ways to stop cold calling. That's another way you could do. Webinars are a tremendous way to actually generate sales leads for your company, for yourself, and everything like that. So there we go. That's the second step. Is we've built the foundation. We've got basically you've got the mechanism in place to capture names and emails. Now here's a little thing that you can leverage to your advantage. Let's just say you get 1,000 visitors to your website each month, and you've got the landing page and you've got an email marketing system in place. Let's just say that you also have the ability, when you're giving something away, that you'll get 3% of the people that hit that page to sign up. So if you look at, and I've run this out over an 18-month period, 3% of the 1,000 people hitting your site each month means you're adding 30 people to an email list each month. And if you're sending an email out on a monthly basis and you're promoting a product or a service, then literally what you're doing is you are bringing new sales leads in the door. So if you get a 6% uptake, in your first month, you're potentially getting 2 additional sales that you didn't have before. If you go to the other end of this chart here and you look at month 18, you're going to have 540 people on your email list. And industry averages from the what is it, Email Marketing Association? I'm trying to remember what it is. But anyways, they say product uptake or service uptake on an email is typically around about 6% of the people that open it. So let's take a look and just say you could potentially get upwards of 32 people becoming potential clients or buying your products on this one. I'm rather lucky, actually. Between all the stuff that I have on my website, I get between 6 and 10% of signups a month, and I get way more traffic than that. So, it generates a significant amount of sales leads for me on a consistent basis. So the resources, as I say, like I have, I've got Aweber and I've got MailChimp. These are both email marketing services. Aweber, they have I think you try it for a month for $1. MailChimp is great because they've got a service that is free for 2,000 subscribers on your email list. If I were to choose which one I like better, I like MailChimp a little better. So that's just a food for thought for you guys. I'm just thinking about this right now. Actually, at the end of this, what I'll do is I'll open up the mics. I'll take the mic off mute for everyone. If anyone has questions, they can actually ask me questions at the end, and I'll try to answer them for you as well. So take a look at this sort of stuff right here with Aweber and MailChimp. So there we go. Now we're into kind of the third step here. And it was funny, last time I gave this presentation when I talked about live chat, someone said that it was something that would literally aggravates the SHIT out of people. But when I go through this and show you live chat on a website and how effective it can be, you might have, if you're thinking the same thing, you might have a different thought around this. So here is a live chat widget on a site called Geeks on the Way. So the guy down by the yellow card is a friend of mine, John Leishman, and he and I actually created that live chat widget that you see on the right-hand part of your screen here. And the reason we created this, because we went to the market and tested literally 7 or 8 different live chat softwares, and we couldn't get it to do what we wanted it to do. But this thing, I may go into this in a second here in the interview or in this webcast, but that live chat widget sitting on John's website, it ended up giving him an additional 15 to 20% revenue for his company. And he was engaging with upwards of 15% of the people on his website. So I may go through that stat again here in a little bit, but just by adding that to his website, he grew his business literally upwards 20% just by putting it in there and engaging with people. Now, the reason behind it is because when people hit your website, they will leave because they're not getting the questions answered. If you give them the opportunity to ask you a question, then literally what happens is you're starting to engage with them, and now you're actually answering their questions. So it goes back to that bit where I was talking about earlier, where if you're not engaging with people on your website, then or giving them a mechanism to engage, 71% are expecting that, 48% leave. So this is an excellent mechanism. One of the other things that we look at with the live chat is we make it proactive. So it actually bounces up. Sorry, I'll just go back to this. This live chat widget will display 3 times on a website when people come through. So typically within about 5 to 15 seconds, it'll pop up. Within about a minute or whatever time frame you set it on, it'll pop up. And then 2 to 3 minutes later, it'll pop up again. What we found is the first one, you don't get a lot of people engaging, obviously, because it's very quickly and it's going up and you haven't figured out what you want to ask. Second one, we see a lot more people engaging. By the time someone's on your site, 2 to 3 minutes, and you start engaging with them, we're about 80 to 90% of those people will actually engage with you. And that's when you bring these people into a sales lead. So I'm going to go back. These are the things that I talked about earlier, obviously. And 60% of the people go online to find a product, 83% need help, 71% expect immediate assistance, and 48% leave if you don't help them. Long story short, just as I reiterated, engage and ask questions with live chat to make sure that you can actually, bring these people into a sales funnel. So there's our live chat. I talked about it, 3 automated invites just to get people to engage with you, and it dramatically increases your results. So one thing I always say is take a test and understand if live chat is going to work for you as well. go to your direct competitors' websites and see if they have live chat on their websites. And so think about what you want to get found on. So go to Google, like if you're a realtor in Calgary, let's say, go real estate Calgary or realtor Calgary, and then see who actually is, go to the top sites and click on them and see if they have live chat on their website. If less than 50% do, there's a huge opportunity for you to do this. If there's, I mean, even if there's like 10 out of 10 have it, there's still a huge opportunity for you to engage and bring people in. And long story short, if no one has it, you know what, man, that's blue ocean strategy. You're right into a great area where you can beat some of the bigger guys in your territory. Advertising. So once again, so now we've created a landing page, or created a website. We've got an email marketing system. We've got live chat. We need to drive people through to the website or to the landing page. And I use a couple of means of advertising. I use Facebook and LinkedIn. I do not use Google AdWords, but I'll tell you why in a sec here. Facebook, for the longest time, I did not like to use Facebook ads. I am absolutely on board with it now. In fact, I'm driving a lot of traffic to my website for absolutely inexpensive rates by using Facebook, and it's increasing. It's got a dual effect, actually. So I'm pushing people through to the Stop Cold Calling webinar, and any of my posts that I have on my website, on my blog at Sales Tip a Day, that actually have cold calling in the title, I'm seeing more and more traction or traffic coming to those sites because of the fact that I think there's a correlation between Facebook pushing them through to my webinar sign-up page that says cold call on it and other things. So, I think there's a direct connect. I don't know for sure, but I think there is. LinkedIn ads, Facebook and LinkedIn, one thing I like about those is you can choose your target people you want to display to. In Facebook, you go by interests. In LinkedIn, what's phenomenal is you can get it down to a person's title, geographical area, so on and so forth. You can do geographical area on Facebook as well. But one of the downfalls of LinkedIn is you're paying at least $2 a click if someone's clicking on it. In Facebook, my average click is about 26 cents a click for someone to come through to my website. Google AdWords, it will work in certain circumstances. I'm not using it right now. But that's more just because it's not really targeted the way that I want it to work for me. So long story short, that's a couple of different ways that you can target people. So one thing, if you are using Google AdWords, I will show you something that's kind of interest as well. It's how to reduce your Google AdWords costs. And for example, if you're an HVAC person in Calgary and you use the term Calgary furnace repair, on average, you're going to pay $18 per click. So someone who's clicking on that ad on the Google results, you're paying $18 per click on average. And let's just say you have a conversion rate of 3%. So 3% of those people that click through, come to your website, will actually contact you, and let's just say you become clients, right? Or it's a lead. So you're basically spending almost $600 for a lead. Now, one of the things we do is we say, okay, so if you put live chat on a website typically will actually generate up to 9.8 times more sales leads. So I'm just using it here. I'm going kind of in half. I'm going 5 times more. So if live chat can increase this by 5 times, then literally what you've done is you've taken your cost per lead down to $120, which is tremendous. So now, once again, I'm going to reiterate here. You've built a web page, or you've got a web page or a landing page. You've got email marketing. You got live chat. I've showed you advertising. I'm going to give you a couple of tips and tricks here on how to use social media to drive people back to your website as well. So if you take a look, this is my landing page for the sign up for how to stop cold calling. And above are a couple of tweets that I sent out through a service that I use called Social Oomph. And what Social Oomph does is it allows you to set up some recurring tweets and send them out at certain times of the day to drive people back through. And long story short is, these tweets will actually push people back through to this website to get them to sign up. The big thing is you need to have these, see at the bottom where on the left-hand side at the top, it says hashtag success, hashtag lead gen, hashtag sales. You have to put in certain hashtags so people will be able to find these. And then when they find them, hopefully they click through. The strategy here is try to educate someone and show them what to do. So that's how I used Twitter to drive people through. You know what? I'm going to go back for a sec here too. You can also use Facebook and put posts up on a page, on your profile. You can use Google Plus. Any of the social media platforms that you have will help you drive traffic through to a landing page so you can get people to actually sign up or give you their name and email. Last but not least, I'm going to give just a follow-up. Make sure you're following up with everyone when you get a lead coming in the door. Leave no lead behind, as I say, they are gold. And I'll give you an example too. I own a house down in Scottsdale, and I just sold the house. And I went online. I had to find a mover. I went online. I looked up only anyone who had 4 or 5 stars on Google. I reached out to 5 companies, and only one returned one returned a call to me. And long story short, that guy got my business just because I didn't have the time to go running around. And he followed up almost immediately too. So there's another thing. If you get any leads coming in, follow up immediately. So the other thing you need to think about too, as part of this process, is not everyone is in buy mode. So I kind of talked a bit about that up front. I think the standard or the industry average, they say, is usually between 1% and 3% of people are looking for what you are selling at any given time. And if they're not ready, the nice thing about this process is, some people will come in, they'll give you their name and email, and then what they'll do is they will, they may not be ready to buy. So, but you have their name and email, you have an email marketing system, and you have the means to send emails out to them with special offers. So remember that graph I showed you where it went up and up and up and up, and you could increase your leads? That's what I'm talking about here, is nurture people, send out an email to them on at least a monthly basis. One of the things you can do, my suggestions, do that monthly email where you're educating and also trying to show people, here's a product, here's a service. Webinars work great. In fact, the system I'm using called join.me, I think it's like $100 a month or $100 a year to get 250 people to show up. Great little thing. So you can actually start running webinars. It's really easy to do. Create some ebooks, create some educational stuff, send that out to people. And then when someone gets ready to buy, guess what? You're going to be top of mind. So it's a great way to do that. So one thing that I said, I'm going to tie this together, show you a little bit. I'm going to show you just a use case with Geeks on the Way. So, long story short is they're driving people through to their website. They've got this live chat widget on there. They have a means to get people to engage with them. This, as I told you before, 12 to 15% uptake. They're getting an additional 15 to 20% revenue on a monthly basis just by adding that. So when I look at that Baylor report, or the Baylor University report that came out on cold calling, literally you have to do almost 333 cold calls in order to get one meeting. What John's doing here on his website, in this case, this is 40 times more effective than cold calling. He's generating 40 leads for every 343 people that come to, that are connecting on his website. So, I mean, he is dramatically increasing his likelihood of generating sales leads. So I'll just let that sink in for a sec. He's got a live chat widget. It's giving him way more revenue, and he's absolutely engaging with way more people instead of cold calling. Now, the nice thing with John too is that he has staff in place that was picking up phones and calling. Now he's got them doing the live chat as well. So this additional 15 to 20% revenue is just straight profit going, pretty much almost straight profit going right into his coffers. So it worked very well. One of the other things too is I got a use case on a roofer in Ottawa. He had a 66% uptake. So for every 3 chats he had, he generated 2 sales leads. I mean, that's just an insane amount based on the average out of that Baylor resort. It's 220 times the average. Now that was over about a 2-month period that I looked at it. I'd have to look at it over a year or more to see what that is. But still, even if I'd still bet that he's actually getting significantly more than actually cold calling. So there are cases where this doesn't work. I'm just going to let you know. And big use case example is actually my website. I actually have live chat on my website, and when you think about it, if you guys have been to my website, it's called Sales Tip a Day. I interview some of the world's greatest authors, pick their brain, find out some information, put it up on my website, and put it out to the world. And I'll give you an example. People actually contact me and they go, "I want sales tips." And long story short, as I look at it, I go, "Did you even look at my website? Like, go into my website and start looking around, and you'll find a bunch of gold sitting in there as well." The other thing too is, not all sales leads are qualified. You have to understand, if you're leveraging something online like this, and people are coming to you, you're getting a plethora of people from, all the way from the cheapest person to the most expensive person in the world. And some of them just are not going to fit into your process, but you could disqualify them rather quickly. So I don't want to, have rose-colored glasses here, or all unicorns and rainbows. It's basically, there are some times where it doesn't work, and some of the leads are not qualified. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go through the process here really quick, and here it is. So I advertise, and the top one that you see here is a Facebook ad that's in a stream that people can see. And as I said, Facebook, it's great. It generates a lot of traffic to my website. The second one down is a LinkedIn ad that I put out, and it's good too. It actually it targets the right people. It doesn't generate nearly the same amount of traffic as Facebook does, but it's highly effective as well. And last but not least, that's a tweet that goes out that drives people through. So now what I'm doing is I'm sending them through to a landing page that I created on Lead Pages. And if you look at the upper top part, it's like, stop cold calling. I'm going to show you kind of, here's a proactive live chat solution that'll get you up to 10 times more sales leads, so on and so forth. The image of the guy, if you look, there's a play button in the middle, so that's a video. So someone can click on that. And when they click on that, it explains more about the process. Then what happens is I'm driving people through to click that button where it says, yes, I want to try live chat free for 30 days. And then on the right-hand side, I've got a live chat box sitting there. So what I'm doing is I'm trying to engage with people in multiple ways to connect with me, whether they want to give me their name and email so I can reach out to them later, whether I want to do it through live chat. That's just the way that you can do that. So there's my call to action. And that goes on to my email list. So on the left-hand side, we're advertising. We're pushing people through to the landing page. I've got my email marketing software integrated with Lead Pages, which is easy to do. I've got my call to action, puts people on my email list. And then last but not least, I can engage with them through a live chat. So one of the things I do, I just want to let you know, experiment. Experiment with the process all the way along the lines. When I first started doing this, I was strictly using LinkedIn ads to drive people through to my website. But then I started thinking, okay, well, I'll try Facebook ads and see what happens. And as I say, my Facebook ads are costing me 26 cents a click, where my LinkedIn ads are costing me $2 per click. I have a feeling that my Facebook ads are generating more click-throughs to the website and signups. But my next step in this process is to set it up and test it and go through. So long story short, experiment, test, see what works for you as well. One thing I'm going to do, I do this with a lot of people, is if you have a website, I will let you try our live chat solution for 30 days for free to see if it even works for you. All you have to do is go to salestipaday.com/live-chat-offer, or reach out to me, Chris at SalesTipAday, and I will do that for you. If you want this whole process that I'm talking about too, is if this is something that is of interest to you, reach out to me and I can talk to you about how to set it up and some costs associated with that as well. So once again, contact me at chris@salestipaday.com if you have any questions. And what I'm going to do now, I don't think I have anything else here. I am going to unmute people here. Just give me a sec. Let's see. Can anyone hear me? Hello? Anyone have questions? I can hear myself echoing. Well, I'll tell you what, if no one has any questions, I will bid adieu to everyone. So first off, I want to, I want to say thank you very much for showing up. Greatly appreciate it. I have this recorded. If you want a copy of this, then please let me know, and I will send it to you. Also, you can go to my YouTube channel at youtube.com/Chris or sales tip a day, and it'll be posted up there probably within the next 2 to 3 hours. And if you go to the channel, it'll probably be the first post that's sitting up there as well. So there you go. And the other thing too is I will probably put a post up on my website or on my blog with the replay of this as well, so you can see it. And apart from that, once again, I really appreciate everyone's time. If you have any questions about this, please reach out to me, Chris Hamilton at Chris@salestipaday.com. Also, I see someone's just joined, viewer 14. Hey, I just so you know, the webinar is coming to a close here, but I will have this posted up on my website or my YouTube channel. And also, if you want to reach out to me, 403-630-1243. Appreciate everyone joining today. Thank you very much for your time.